Hello, thank you for joining today's webcast on Women Talk Success in Security from Three Perspectives. This is in celebration for the March 8th, International Women's Day. Fostering an environment of embracing diverse backgrounds has always been a driving force of success in today's fast-paced business world. And my name is Kelly Liu. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager at Arctic Wolf. We are really proud of the diversity we have at Arctic Wolf. The International Women's Day provides a great opportunity for all of us to think about, share, and contribute to helping women succeed in their professional life. Joining today's panel discussion are three amazing women from our R&D organization. They are Kim Tremblay, Dinah Davis, and Anna Lorimer. Every day, they make big impact on how our security products and service help customers protect their business assets. So we're going to spend some time today to get to know them better, understand what inspired them to work in security, and what advice they have to offer to fellow women working in technology. To kick off the conversation here, I'm going to start asking each presenter to give a quick self-introduction. And please talk about what is your current role at Arctic Wolf, and what is your education background, and how did you get inspired to enter the security industry as a profession? So let's start with Kim.
Hi, I'm Kim Tremblay. I'm the VP of R&D and Operations, and I'm co-founder of Arctic Wolf. When I was in high school, I was really interested in math, thanks to some teachers that I had that were fantastic. And so I went to the University of Waterloo, and I graduated with a Bachelor of Mathematics in 1984. I had, while I was there, I had the opportunity to try out computers. I'd not tried them before, and I fell in love with the problem solving involved in programming, and so I ended up getting a computer science major. One of the really nice things about the University of Waterloo is that they have a co-op program, which is essentially an internship program that they have, and they help you find jobs. And I was able to try out a bunch of different jobs. That allowed me to figure out that I didn't like business programming, but I really liked more systems level programming, something that was closer to the hardware. So after trying out different jobs, when I graduated, I moved into defense and air traffic control systems. Not exactly security, but there's a lot of commonality there in terms of the type of programming, the certification programs that go on, the type of testing that you need to do. Eventually, I made my way into security products when I joined Blue Coat, which is now Symantec, as a project manager in about 2000. And I spent quite some time there and eventually became the VP of Worldwide Development. And I've been in security ever since then. So for me, I didn't go specifically after security. It was more of a natural progression towards there rather than a focused drive. Maybe, Donna, you can tell us a little bit about how you got into security.
Yep, sounds good. So I'm the Director of R&D here at Arctic Wolf. Like Kim in high school, I really loved mathematics. So when I went to talk to my mathematics teacher, my guidance counselor, he said, "Oh yeah, you should become a math teacher because, I'm really good at math," and I was a woman. And I was a bit naive and only 17, and so I went to University of Lethbridge to become a math teacher. What I quickly learned was that I loved the mathematics. I really did. And through some early teaching courses, I realized that teaching wasn't actually my passion. My passion was the mathematics. So I decided to drop the teaching aspect of my degree. And in my third year, I was forced to take my first computer science course. I had avoided it like the plague because my friends all told me it was hard. I should have clued in when they said they were in arts, that it was hard. So within my first few weeks of taking it, I realized that I actually loved computer science. And the reason is because when you write code, it's very mathematical. It's like another language that describes doing mathematics and logical thinking, and my brain already worked that way, and it was a very natural step for me to actually take. So I thought, all right, now I have most of a math degree and some computer science. What am I going to do? So I decided to join the co-op program as well, and started working at CSE, which is the Canadian Security Establishment, and that is like the Canadian version of NSA. And that's where I discovered cryptography. They had a job opening for somebody who was really good at mathematics and could code. And I thought, oh, hey, me, that's me. And I applied and got the job. And my first thing that they wanted me to do was to implement Bluetooth using C++ so that they could run tests on it to determine if it's a good cryptographic algorithm or not. This was when we were looking for a new AES standard. Obviously, it is not good at crypto, but great for pairing. So who knew? From there, I decided that I wanted to continue in cryptography, so I went to the University of Waterloo and got a graduate degree and a master's degree in cryptography, and was very lucky to get my dream job right out of university from that master's degree. I got to work on the cutting edge security at BlackBerry on their security team. So like the one thing that most people still know about BlackBerry is that they're secure, their devices were secure, they are secure, and all their infrastructure is secure. That was the team I got to work on, and it started out as 5 people and grew to up to 30 people in the 8 years I was there. So it was very exciting. But Anna, you've been interested in security like right from the beginning, so how did that happen?
Yeah, hi. So my name's Anna. I'm currently interning at Arctic Wolf as a software developer while I finish my undergrad in combinatorics, optimization, and computer science at the University of Waterloo. So when I was a kid, I really liked to break things. I remember taking apart my parents' at the time, very state-of-the-art desktop, trying to figure out how it worked, trying to brute force cheat codes for my video games, and just generally messing around with code. Although my high school didn't have, like they had computer sciences, it was all pretty low-key, and there were no girls involved at all. So I didn't do any computer science in high school. But I did do a lot of math, and I really, really liked math. I was lucky enough to have a tutor who taught me just how cool math is, and she also introduced me to cryptography. And from there, I ended up doing an undergraduate math program at Waterloo, pretty much determined to study cryptography. Like, that's what I was there for. It's what I'm still there for. And like Dinah, I was eventually forced to take computer science. And once I had completed those courses, I knew that I wanted to do more, and my love of cryptography and computer science morphed into my interest of computer security. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for all 3 of you. That's really interesting to hear the different paths you have had in your career and through education to enter, technology. I noticed something very interesting, that none of you really have taken any programming classes before the school, but then you all fell in love with it, and now you have a career in programming. And for somebody outside of R&D and development, that's just interesting, to have that observation. I'd like to go dive into a little deeper conversation here. Can I ask Kim, you've been executive for a long time in security, and I'm curious, why did you choose to found Arctic Wolf?
So really it was a great opportunity for me. Brian Nesmith, who was the ex-CEO of Blue Coat, and I had both left the company, and he was looking for an opportunity and trying to figure out what he was going to do next. I was taking some time off to spend with my family, and he approached me with the idea of servicing the low end of the security market. At Blue Coat, we had spent a lot of time working in the enterprise, and had noted that really security is very hard for a lot of companies. So the larger companies have large security teams, and they can handle complicated products. But for the lower end, where it is important to have security in the business, it was really hard. And so the idea was for us to service that market. When we started, we weren't exactly sure how we were going to do it, but having the opportunity to work with Brian again, and then having the opportunity to do something that was meaningful in security was a really interesting opportunity for me, and I wanted to be part of a company that could make that happen. The other thing is I actually really love building teams from scratch. I have worked at larger companies, but I like smaller teams, and I wanted to have the opportunity not just to build an R&D team, but also to build a company and to talk about the values, cultures, and the processes that I believe are needed for success. The one thing I would say, though, is I wish I'd actually taken or had the opportunity earlier, because it's really rewarding to start your own company. Maybe, I don't know if you know this, Anna, but you are our first female intern in our 4 years of having students coming from universities. We're really happy to have you join us. But how did you decide to work at Arctic Wolf instead of some other technology company?
Yeah, so I had just finished my third internship when I reached out to Arctic Wolf. And my other internships had been good, but I really wasn't passionate about the work I was doing. So for my fourth internship, I knew I wanted three things. I wanted to work somewhere that would let me get my hands dirty in the code. I wanted to work on a meaningful project, and I wanted to be at a security company. As I mentioned, I'd been into security since I was a kid, so it was really important for me to finally work somewhere with work I was interested in. I'd met Dinah earlier last year, and she was talking about Arctic Wolf, and I could just tell it was going to tick all my boxes. Often when you do a tech internship, you're given a project where there's no intention for it to ever go into production. And while you do end up learning new skills, you don't feel like you're a part of the team or that you're affecting any change within the company. And the projects I work on at Arctic Wolf are anything but that. I really get to work directly in the code base on bugs and projects that any other full-time employee would work on. So that's really what attracted me to the company. I'm interested in why, Dinah, you chose to come to Arctic Wolf.
Yeah, it actually starts back at BlackBerry, I think. I started there when there was about 1,000 employees, and I was there for 8 years. So I got to be part of the big ride that saw us go from, almost 0 BlackBerry users to 1 million to like 150 million BlackBerry users. And I got to see my code go out to all those people, and all of them, even if they just logged in to a password screen, they used code that I wrote. And that was really awesome. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot, and it was really cool to be on the cutting edge of security. But everything comes to an end, and I decided to leave in 2011 when there was 20,000 employees. I also saw how things started to move slower as things got bigger, and there was a lot more bureaucracy. So the next places I went to were a bit smaller. And in 2012, I joined D2L. It's a tech company that works in the education space. And when I started there was just under 300 employees. So it was quite a bit smaller than what I had done in the past. And what it allowed me to do was actually have a lot of influence across the whole company. I was a development manager there. I ran a couple teams, and I was able to influence things like the release cycle, how we use large development tools across the organization, and really be able to have a positive impact on the direction of the company. But as the company grew again to around 700 people, it was now very hard to affect change from an individual level who wasn't in the director level or above. And that started to get me thinking. When I had started D2L, I also thought about expanding my network. I got most of my jobs, if not all of my jobs, through networking, through people I knew. And I thought, hey, this is a good idea. I should do more of this. I should make my network bigger. I should talk to more people and learn more things. So I joined some peer-to-peer groups. I went to networking events, and I really started championing the Women in Tech cause in Waterloo itself. And I kind of became known as the go-to person for Women in Tech knowledge. And that was really cool. I got to meet like so many women in this industry in our region that are just amazing. And so when I got when I started feeling like I couldn't affect the change I wanted to at D2L, I decided to use my network to find my next job. So I was looking for three things specifically. I wanted to use my skills scaling and running successful dev teams to help scale up a startup. So I wanted a startup that was like just coming out of the chaos mode and really needed to start to scale to grow the company, and then I could really help with that and use my skills with that. I wanted to be part of creating the ride to success instead of just riding it like I did at BlackBerry. I really wanted to be involved in helping a company achieve big things. And I wanted to get back into security. When I went to D2L, I stepped out of the security space for about 3 years, and I missed it. Security feels like home to me. It's what I like to think about. It's what I read about, and so it's something I really wanted to do. And the way that I kept up to date with it while I was out was through networking, basically, whether it was on social media, following smart people, reading blog posts, whether it was going to peer-to-peer events where I was learning more about different security aspects, going to talks, conferences, webinars, and newsletters and stuff. So for me, really, networking has been the key to my job. So how did I find Arctic Wolf? Well, it was the networking. Kim and I met each other through some Women in Tech events. And we had decided just to go for lunch. And that day happened to be a day that I got some particularly frustrating news at work, and I was complaining to her about how frustrated I was and what I wanted to actually do, which was looking for my three things for the new job. And then she just looked at me and she's like, "Dinah, you should come work for me." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's very nice of you. Thank you for thinking of me." And then we keep on talking, and then at the end of the conversation, she's like, no, I'm actually really serious. You should come work for me." And then I thought, wait a sec, they are a company that's moving out of that chaos to scale up. They are in security. They are going places. Why wouldn't I want to try going there? And I guess they say the rest is history, but that is what happened.
That's great. Thanks for all the stories about how you landed at Arctic Wolf today. It's very inspiring. Thinking that there will probably be a lot of young women hearing us online about what we're discussing here. So I think there will be some question directed to Anna that because of the audience could be a lot of them in your age group and beginning their career. So I like to ask you the question. How has the university prepared you for your security career, and how did you go about learning about security? So if anything else you want to discuss around your education and how that contributes to your success, that would be great for us to hear. Here you go, Anna.
There is definitely a gap in security education, at every level of the education system. I think that's partly because security isn't a hot topic like artificial intelligence or machine learning, but also because security tends to conflict with usability, and no one wants to hear something like, "Oh, you shouldn't leave your Wi-Fi radio on when you're walking around," because it's inconvenient and it makes your life a little bit harder. So as a result of this, I'm largely self-taught. There are kind of three strategies, to continue on the theme of three things, that I use to learn about security. And Dinah touched on these a little bit, but I'll start with the first two, which are start somewhere and immerse yourself. When I was first trying to figure out what the whole security thing was, I really had no idea where to start. So I think what I really ended up doing was Googling computer security and reading the Wikipedia page. And then every time I came across a concept or a word that I didn't know, I just looked it up, like opened a new tab, put in a new Google search. That worked really well for me. It still works really well for me now. And then for immersing yourself, it involves a couple things. First, it's doing a little bit of something security related every single day, even if it's just reading a Wikipedia page or like an article or anything. Twitter works too. And second, it's keeping up to date. Security moves so quickly, and it's really important to keep up with the latest developments. Some resources I really like for doing this are Bruce Schneider's blog, Google's Project Zero, a mailing list called Insider Security, and there's a couple Twitter feeds. Lee Honeywell's a really good one. I also like to see if universities and colleges have their slides from their security courses posted online. I know Waterloo has all theirs for both their undergrad and grad classes, and Coursera also has some really great security and crypto courses. My final strategy is, of course, to do internships. Part of the reason I didn't enjoy my first 3 internships was because my heart was in security, but I had convinced myself that I wasn't good enough, experienced enough. I didn't have a master's or any undergrad courses in it, so I didn't apply for any. And most of the people I knew who were interning in security had been hacking since they were like 14 and were basically like walking, talking security encyclopedias. And I managed to convince myself that I would never catch up to them. A turning point for me was when I realized that I can take inspiration from the people who are more experienced than me rather than feel bad that I'm not where they're at. So my advice is for people who are interested in getting into security is when you see someone who's more experienced than you, rather than thinking, wow, like I can't believe I'm not there, and really beating yourself up, it's instead thinking about, wow, I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to have those skills, and I'm really excited for my future. Yeah.
I think your advice is great, Anna. I've actually heard some other students tell me that too, that they ended up not getting the intern jobs they wanted because they were afraid to try. They didn't think that they actually had the qualifications. There's a study, you've probably heard about it, but women are particularly bad at underestimating or underselling themselves. In an HP study, they said that women would not apply to jobs unless they met the job description 100%, whereas their male counterparts applied with about 60% of the skills. And so I think it's really, really important to start thinking about this young and throughout your career. And the way I like to think about it is I think it's important for people to take risks. So for you, it was a risk. I mean, it was a mindset change too, but it was a risk to try something where you didn't think you were going to be as qualified as others. And I think it's really important for people throughout their entire career to take risks. It can be scary, but it can also be very rewarding. And for me, taking a risk ended up in me founding a company. So the payoffs can be really big. I also found it really interesting to hear how you learned about security, not directly from school, but outside of school. And Dinah also mentioned that she spends lots of time learning through social media. And I know that Dinah also helps her team because she's sharing a lot with her team that way too. Security is really a dynamic field. It changes all the time. And we encourage everyone on our teams at Arctic Wolf to keep learning. I set aside time every week, I know the CEO does too, to explore and to learn. And I think it's really important for anyone wanting to succeed in a technology field to always be learning. You have to keep up with new technologies, new trends, and changes in the world. The other thing that I thought was pretty clear when Dinah was talking, but I wanted to reiterate for everyone, was how important networking is for learning, staying up to date, finding opportunities. We all ended up at Arctic Wolf because of the connections that we had. And so I think it's really important for everyone to develop a network and participate in a network, give back to a network. It can really help you a lot in your career. And my last piece of advice for young women is to find a mentor who can guide you, who you can use as a sounding board, who can give you career advice, and who can encourage you to take the risks that I talked about. I had a mentor early in my career, and that mentor provided what I would consider to be harsh, but always insightful guidance, and it made a huge difference for me. And I have tried to provide honest guidance to the people I have mentored. So in the early years, I was the person being mentored, but now I've turned around and started mentoring people. Dinah has done the same too. She was a mentor in a program that our local technology association, Communitech, established, and she continues to mentor people. And even Anna, who's very young, has mentored some of the younger students, and she too has a mentor. So we all see value in mentoring, both receiving and giving back by being a mentor. So go and get yourself a mentor. That's my advice. If you don't know where to start, look at your network, take a risk, and ask someone to be your mentor. I suspect you'll be pleasantly surprised by the answer because people do want to give back in this industry.
Those are great advices. Thank you, Kim. I wish when earlier in my own career I could have, pursued follow these advice, and they're really precious. I do feel everybody who's listening find that very inspiring and helpful as well to set you up to a success in your career. So I want to thank you for the panel speakers today. And before we conclude, a few words about who is Arctic Wolf. We help mid-sized companies to monitor, detect, and respond to malicious cyber attacks, and we are really proud of the services and products we're offering to hundreds of customers, and we're in a very fast-growing business and industry. Again, I hope everyone online has found this to be inspiring, and you're welcome to connect with us, with Arctic Wolf, through website, email, telephone, and social media. We hope we can work together and continue to help young women to succeed, and we look forward to seeing you again in our future webcasts. Thank you and have a great day.